So welcome to this Make Love Easy Masterclass. This is going to be a powerful revealing of how a man unleashes his sexual power and overcomes sexual shame.
Which is a journey that I embarked on growing up, socially awkward, anxious, introverted, diagnosed with autism. I almost said diagnosed with Catholicism.
He's fully recovered Catholic, though. Don't worry.
Sexually repressed out the wazoo. I went through a period of intense. Yes, I know Justin appreciates that.
Don't Catholics have the best sex?
They do, because the repression, once it's gone, they're like, I've wanted this for so many years. So I went through a period of intense sexual expression. I called myself Casanova and had more sex with more women than most men will in their lives. Was it all good? No, because I didn't include my heart. And I was also making bad, reckless, casually chaotic decisions. And so I had adventures and it was fun, but it was the coming to the heart and the coming to consciousness that actually completed the journey to sexual health, vitality, integration, well-being. So you all get the benefits and the fruits of that whole journey. I like to say the only way to learn is through failure. The only trick is that it doesn't have to be yours. It can be mine. You're welcome.
Yeah. Lewis and I, we stand on the shoulders of giants.
We dance on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah, we dance on the shoulders of giants. I shared a little bit, I woke up spiritually when I was 13 years old. I started reading books by Gurdjieff and Ouspensky and Richard Bach when I was 13. And my dad had a PhD in law and spoke half a dozen languages and been all around the world. Russian was his favorite language. And he introduced me to a whole new world of higher spiritual laws when I was very young. And then by the time I was 20 and learning energy medicine and massage therapy and acupuncture and qigong, and I became a brown belt in the martial arts, I opened up to a whole world of energy, and I began to start learning the languages of energy. But while I was learning this stuff, I was highly, highly horny, masturbating all the time. I didn't understand how to control my sexual energy or channel it. I was very shy. I was an extrovert with trauma, so I was highly traumatized. I didn't have my first serious relationship until I was 21. My brother's best friend had to pull me out of the house to get me laid one day and pop my cherry. I was taken and just to have sex with a woman that I'd never see again. And so it's
kind of how my story went.
Yeah. So I got 21. I finally, found a girl that, I thought was going to be the one. And the whole relationship was based on drug use and codependence and shame and guilt. And that relationship ended. My heart was broken. And I fell in love with my now wife, but I still didn't have a handle on my sexual energy. And for the first 40 years of my life, I didn't understand my sexuality or how to harness it, even with all of my training. And then I met Scotty O. McClure, and then I learned how to open up my body to pleasure. And I discovered that I was naturally tantric. I just didn't have the right awareness. I didn't have the right path. And once I had that little bit of support, I became a multi-orgasmic man. I started experiencing 2 and 3 hour orgasms. I started having multiple orgasms without ejaculation. And I started understanding my natural state. Our natural state as men and women is bliss, is love, is pleasure and pain. But it's not about either or, it's both and more. Now, what I had in this understanding, when I started integrating all of this awareness, is I was also, a master at juicing and raw foods and botanicals, which is a part of building sexual power, is understanding your biology and your physiology. And so we're going to unpack a little bit of that today, because there's 3 paths to sexual power in a man. 1 is breath and body awareness, and then 2 is nutrient saturation, nutrient density, and then 3 is understanding the visualization techniques and how to harness energy and move energy through visualization, and breath and body and nutrition. When you bring all these things together, and you practice, because it's not easy for a man to become multi-orgasmic. Women are naturally wired multi-orgasmic. Women are naturally, they don't always have a man that can help them experience that. That's another conversation we're going to have today, is
how to become that man.
Is the arc, the arc of stimulation for a man is different than the arc of stimulation for a woman, and what a man needs to do to bring those arcs together, this is rich. There's a lot here, and no, I can't teach you everything I know in 2 hours. but I can give you a taste, of what I've experienced and what I know and how I've gotten here. And then we're going to be sharing with you the 6-week accelerator program for you men to really jump in and do more of this work. Real time, high tech, high touch. We're not just talking at you. We have live events, we have dojos, we have breathwork, we have meditations, we have experiences to help you raise your sexual consciousness. Because that's really what Make Love Easy is about. It's about men feeling confident, clear, and empowered, but also sexually powerful and creative. And sex is such a great conversation to start with, but there's so much more that happens too.
So now that we've got the Dynamo Genius running,
yeah,
flowing into the room, how today will go. Welcome to all of you, by the way. You could be anywhere doing anything. It's a Saturday afternoon, and you chose to be here. So we're committed that this be fun, valuable, highly interactive. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. And then at the end, mostly it will be Artemis teaching and engaging with you all. And then at the end, we'll talk more about the 6-week accelerator program.
Yeah, and Lewis,
does that sound good for you all, by the way? Give me some thumbs up. Excellent.
Lewis,
beautiful.
I've mastered the inner game. Lewis has mastered the outer game. That's our balance. So Lewis has an uncanny skill with what to say, how to say it, how to build rapport, how to connect with the woman, how to help a woman feel safe and secure and loving, and how to help her feel loved. And these are all important skills in Make Love Easy.
Is that true, Sarah?
Yeah,
just checking.
Social proof, but it's like, we both have our strengths and weaknesses, and we balance each other out, in this program. And that's why we're both teaching it, is because it takes a village to help men rise, and together we rise as one. So let me ask you guys a question. We're going to start with sexual blocks, then we're going to go into relationship blocks. If you already answered these questions, go ahead and answer them again, honestly and truthfully. Like,
if this is you, put a 1 in the chat box. Has
it been difficult to express your sexual desire to women without feeling lustful or like, sometimes like lower nature? Like, do you find like lust gets in the way, or, have some of you been consumed pornography and you felt guilt about it and shame about it?
Self-judgment.
Yeah. Self-judgment. Programming. Type a 1 in the chat box.
We got a lot of people.
Type a 1 in the chat box if you've had sexual cravings you haven't been able to handle, or type a 1 in the chat box if you desire sex, but you haven't felt fully satisfied sexually.
Or even if you're having sex and you're just not full, like you're still hungry.
Yeah. Like if you've had partners before, but you were never fully sexually satisfied. That was me until 40. But it wasn't my partners that changed. It was me that changed. Now I'm sexually full and satisfied. I'm overflowing with sexual energy. And it's not just about my woman. But how many of you have had these sexual cravings and partnerships but not been fully satisfied? Type 1 in the chat. How many of you men maybe feel inadequate in the bedroom? Maybe you're not able to have enough staying power. You're ejaculating too soon, or you're not. Or how many men? Type 1 in the chat box. That's you. Performance anxiety. Comparison. Yeah, all that stuff.
Looking at people around you and saying, "Oh, I need to be like them."
Yeah. And by the way, you can't fix sexual shame by putting your attention on shame. You don't ever need to heal shame. Shame is not healable. It's the fall from grace. It's the wounded ego. We talked about that in our last masterclass. So go back and watch the recording on the 6 core limiting beliefs of the ego. You don't need to heal shame because the ego doesn't need to be healed. You take your attention completely off of shame and you put it on where the power is, which is your focus. And you focus on power in your breath, power in your body, and power in your sex. And you build that power until that energy is dominant. The ego is not going anywhere, and you don't need to fix it. It's just the container. It's just a container of your focus. And so your sexual power comes from where you put your focus. It's not trying to heal shame. And so that's the first myth to bust right there. Now, Lewis, next question.
Where are we going here? Oh, there we go. So you may be dealing with hiding your emotions, faking it till you make it. Who here has ever, with bravado and bluster and boldness, hid out from the fact of all of what you're dealing with sexually and emotionally around your expression? 1 in the chat box. projecting a false sense. Yeah, we're seeing some of
Yeah.
that. Always feeling like there's more that you could achieve and enjoy, but never quite reaching it. Very important that you become conscious of the fact that you're not the problem and there is no problem to solve. There's always going to be actions to take. We're going to give you some of those actions to take. But really, the main thing to do is to shift your focus to what works to achieve what you truly desire with women. What are we looking for?
So we're going to go over a little bit of ancient Taoist medicine. We're going to look at the Chinese 5 elements.
Cool.
And here's a little chart here I want to bring up.
Beautiful.
And let's do a quick screen share. So everything you see in this chart right here is based on 5,000 years of Chinese tonic medicine and Taoist wisdom. So these are 5 elements of creation. And these 5 elements correlate to the 5 senses, the 5 flavors, the 5 hands. 5 is actually a number of the human body. 5 represents transformation in numerology. And in the creative process, there's a generative cycle, and then there is a controlling or subjugative cycle. So we're going to be focusing primarily on these 5 elements as it relates to just the energies of the body. The sexual energy in a man and woman is stored in the water element down here, and this is our kidneys and bladder. And so everything begins in water. Water is the essence of life. Water also is a term used for alignment with the will of heaven. And so our ability to align with cosmic laws and align with our dharma also comes from water. And in our kidneys, our sexual essence is called jing. And I'll go unpack that a little bit more. Water becomes wood, and water grows into wood. Wood is our liver. Liver is the seat of creativity and happiness in Chinese medicine. Wood burns into fire. Fire is the heart and small intestine. The heart is where we feel love, and it's also where we feel hate or shame or or the feelings of sadness, grief. It can be felt in this area. The heart generates into earth, so the fire becomes earth, and earth is spleen and stomach. This is our self-esteem, self-confidence. This is the feeling of being content in our lives. This is also digestion, absorption, utilization. So as the fire burns to the earth and becomes the earth descends back down into the ground and becomes metal. This is lung and large intestine. Metal is our knowing our value, and it's the container of value. And then metal holds water, and the cycle continues. So,
question for you. So speaking from the mind-body perspective, if we're taking care of each of these systems, they feed into all the others.
Yeah.
So like taking care of your liver actually will improve your self-esteem on some level, or have that impact downstream.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like, how does breath work translate qi into shen and jing is because metal generates water. So as we do our breath work today, as we practice the 9 breath and the pelvic lock and the visualization techniques, we're actually drawing the energy of metal into water in our bodies. How many of us shallow breathe most of the day? But when we do deep breathing exercises with conscious awareness, and as we do this during sexual intercourse, sexual love, we're drawing the energy down into the lower kidneys, the lower dantian. And so all of these are connected. It's all one cycle. And these 5 elements are in everything. This map you see right here in ancient China, it encapsulates all of their medicine, all of their martial arts, all of their astrology, and how they create government and how they balance their communities and their psychology, all in one map. In no other culture, including in the Vedas and the ancient teachings of India, do they have a map like that. That 5 element map, that map is also something I use in business called Wealth Dynamics to teach entrepreneurs flow and how to create more flow in their life and business. I'm a performance consultant and I do a lot of work with business owners. I use that same map in business as taught to me by Roger Hamilton. So there's a lot to that map, but it's important to understand that this information today is rooted in deep wisdom traditions. This isn't just some shiny object or some get your hard cock quick fix.
You mean this isn't just natural Viagra?
Yeah, this is not how to teach you how to have multiple orgasms in one class, because that's impossible. But this is to show you that the principles are there,
and to give you a path to follow and begin to research
and
and
as you
work on and
apply these
experiment with.
principles, as you apply these principles, you will get there, because we want to observe nature, comprehend nature, and copy nature. And everything is in nature. Everything we need to know is in nature. And understanding how our sexual energy works from a Taoist perspective and a tantric perspective, it gets, when you understand those principles and how they work in your body and your mind and your sex, then you can go out there in the marketplace and see all the charlatans. Because until they're teaching you breath and body and mind and how all those are connected to your sex, and how if you're not working on your body, if you're depleted in qi and jing, you're not going to have, no matter how much tools you have, you're not going to be able to do it. But if you have all the jing, qi, and shin, but you're not learning the breath, the cobra breath, and the pelvic blocks, and how to visualize and how to make love to your woman that way, you're still not going to do it that way either. So there's a formula.
It's interesting. I mean, who here has ever watched porn? Who here has ever used porn for a significant period or degree? Yeah. So we're programmed by porn to throw away our energy, to breathe shallowly, to move fast, to be punchy, rather than sensual, rather than breathing deep, rather than cultivating the energy, rather than leveraging it. We're trained and programmed to throw it away. So it takes some unlearning at first in your somatic experience. I found this even for myself, knowing a great deal of these things and practicing them, there's been a gap. And I've been able to traverse that gap through deep practice of the cobra breath, at the very least, lasting longer, being more intentional, but there's still a lot of push in the old direction.
Yeah. So if you're having trouble, extending your sexual experience with your woman, it just takes more practice. How many like to practice?
How many like to self-pleasure?
or just self-pleasure too.
I wish we had a spotlight. Okay.
All right. So let's talk about the 3 treasures of Chinese medicine, and let's do some breath work. Let's draw this down and experience. So remember, I said there are three treasures, 5 elements. The 3 treasures are Jing, Qi, and Shen. Jing is the essence, or what's known as the regenerative essence in our body. Qi is the energy we get from food and water and breath. So we bring in qi, life force, through breath, through nutrition, liquids, and foods. And I'm drinking some of the 2 of the richest qi tonics known to man, which is green fruit and vegetable juices, coconut water, and bee pollen. So, we're going to be talking about some superfoods that really help build sexual energy too. So you have Jing becomes Qi. Qi then becomes Shen. Shen is the 3rd treasure, and Shen resides within the heart. Shen is known as the luminous spirit of life. And these 3 treasures in your body, sexually and in every other way, can be seen like a candle. So the wax in your candle is Jing. Now, we're all born with a certain amount of Jing, and it comes genetically. That's known as prenatal Jing. And then there's postnatal Jing. There's 2 types of Jing in the body. And the candle that burns twice as bright burns half as long. Remember that. And so it's good to retain your essence. It's good to master fear. Those who live in chronic fear and anxiety deplete their life. Those who live in faith and those who give their life have their life much more long and more fruitful.
Service. Yeah. Cultivating Shen through service.
Yeah.
Who here is a public speaker or trainer of any sort?
Yeah. So that's
I've experienced this Shen in my body after serving, after showing up in front of people, but we'll get there. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Jing becomes Qi. Qi is the flame. So Qi is like it's the energy that brings life to the body. Think of like oxygen going into the cell, that life force, that pure life force energy. The foods that give the most life have the most oxygen content. They're abundant in Qi, but they also have minerals, enzymes, and coenzymes, and they're all in a living biofield active state. And so when we think of Jing, Qi, Shen is the light that the candle emits. So when your Jing is properly nourished and filled, we can bring an abundance of chi. When the Jing and chi are properly nourished and fulfilled, we can create an abundance of light and Shen. People who have a lot of Shen are very generous with their time, with their love, and with their energy. People who have an abundance of Shen don't live their life from fear. They live their life from faith, and they live very closely to the well of life, which is in the kidneys, or the will of heaven. And how many can feel what I'm telling you right now? Raise your hand. Mm-hmm. Like these principles are so universal. Like when I speak them to you, I'm not teaching you this stuff, because you already know all of this. Like learning is remembering what you already know, and doing is demonstrating that you know it, mm-hmm. and teaching is reminding others they know it just as well as you. And so when I teach the three treasures to you, it's inside you. Like you're just now seeing it in a perspective that's holistic. That, you know, Frankie said remembrance. Yeah, you're remembering these things because we're all born with prenatal Jing. We have a mother and a father, a left kidney and a right kidney. And then we take that Jing and we're not taught how to nourish it, how to recharge it, how to renew it. But as you start learning how to build Jing and Qi, Jing becomes Qi, Qi becomes Shen, and then through meditation and through yoga and Qigong, the Qi and the Shen recycles back down to Jing. So there's a complete circuit there. A lot of us in the West are not cultivating breathwork and meditation in our daily practices enough to channel that Qi into Shen and that Shen back down into Jing. So we're cut off in the middle because of overstimulation, overstressful, living in fear. The future will be better when, now is not enough. You know, when you enjoy the present moment in your life and you feel the pleasure of the moment and the pleasure of your lover and the love of life, you know, this Qi becomes Shen and the Shen becomes Jing, but we have to slow down to recirculate. That's why we teach meditation and make love easy, and that's why we do the dojo, because we want to learn how to do that consciously. So Jing, Qi, and Shen. And unfortunately, our culture depletes Jing. We deplete Jing through worry. Worry is the biggest depleter of Jing, followed by acid-forming foods that weaken kidney function, because Jing is stored in the kidneys.
What are acid-forming foods?
Bread, pasta, rice, sugar, flour, alcohol, and coffee. So the overconsumption of these foods, bread, pasta, rice, sugar, flour, alcohol, over time causes the lymphatic system to become very toxic, backflowing into the liver and then backflowing into the kidneys. The kidney is the mother of liver. And so when we start to rapid hydrate our cells with fruit and vegetable juices, 2 to 4 liters a day, we start to hydrate the cells, but we start to buffer those acids and flush them out through the sweat and the urine. And so hydration and nutrient saturation is an important part of taking care of our kidney function, as well as protecting Jing. Because if our body's really acidic and dehydrated, we're accelerating aging and we're causing our kidneys to work harder. But if we're more water-rich, mineral-rich, oxygen-rich human beings, our kidneys don't have to work as hard. So now all this other stuff we're doing, like the breath work and the visualization and the yoga and the lovemaking, you know, without ejaculation, that starts to recirculate. All this becomes restorative now and replenishing when our body is more water-rich.
It makes sense. It makes sense. I have the experience of when I retain my semen, but rather than just ejaculating all the time, visualization comes easier.
Yeah.
Activation of will comes easier.
Yeah.
Motivation comes clearer.
Because the kidney is mother of liver, and the liver is where our will comes from.
Cool.
Yeah, through the gallbladder function. So it's all connected. So now that you know what the three treasures are, let's build some Qi together. Let's do some breath work. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the 9 breath healing method. And I have a camera that moves around, so excuse my camera. It has a life of its own. And so this technique I learned from Kellen Craven, who learned it from Jeff Primack from the Supreme Science Qigong Foundation. We're going to add a few twists to it today. Is that okay? We're going to take it to like a higher level because we're going to integrate it with some pelvic locks in the next phase and then visualization techniques. So phase 1, we're just going to do the 9 breath and connect to your power.
Feel free to stand up. Join us. This is interactive.
Yes,
we're
interactive.
actually inviting you to do breath work.
Yeah, so stand up, take a hand right here. Place it on your navel, left hand on top for men, right hand on top for women. So women are going to have the left hand on top, men are going to have the right hand on top. So for you, Sarah, make sure your left hand's on top. And when you place your hands on your navel, I want you to place your hands like this, palm to palm, not like this, like this. That way you can channel the energy from the upper dantian to the lower dantian. And this area right here called dantian, it's also known as the elixir field. It's a place where the breath and the nutrition mix together to form Jing in essence. And so we're going to connect to this lower dantian down here. And what we're going to do is this technique happens in two basic phases. Phase one is 9 powerful breaths in through the nose. And I probably need to blow my nose a little bit here. So 9 powerful breaths in and out through the nose. And if you need to blow your nose, go ahead and do that now. Because we're going to be going. So it's 9 breaths, warrior's breath. In phase one, we're going to hold the breath at the top. And then in phase two, we're going to drop it down to the belly. And what we're going to do is we're just going to pretend the belly is moving down and out like this, but we're not going to move our hands, but it's like a visualization and attention on the lower dantian. So 9 breaths, hold the breath at the top. And I'll say 9 is big, hold, inhale and hold. And then before you enter phase two and you drop it down, I want you to focus on a very slow, gradual, eternal exhale. So let's do it once and then I'll teach it again. So exhale. We'll do 9 powerful breaths. Let's begin. 1 is big. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is big. 8 is bigger. 9 is big and hold. And do a slow eternal exhale, dropping it down to your navel, down and out. Very slow. Down, out, down, out, down. As you're dropping it down, I just want you to visualize energy coming down here like fog moving down the steps. Just very gently. And you'll start to feel an energy in the lower dantian. You'll start to recirculate that energy. Good. Exhale again. All right. 1 is big. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold. Do a very slow exhale and drop it down and out. As you're doing this slow eternal exhale, imagine there's a candle flame right here, and you're breathing so slowly out your mouth that the flame isn't moving. And so as you hold the 9 breaths, the 9 breaths at the top, bring all the energy up, and then do a slow eternal exhale, dropping it down and out, and very slow exhalation. That regulates the flow of carbon dioxide release in the cells. So it gives you more oxygen carbon dioxide exchange when you slow the exhalation. All right, one more time. Practice the eternal exhale. I really want you to focus on that part. It's the eternal exhale. This is about breath control. Okay, exhale. 1 is big. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 is big. 9 is big and hold. I do one more inhale again. Hold. And do a slow eternal exhale, very slow, dropping it down to the navel, and slow eternal exhale. And now notice what you notice. What is different in the mind? What is different in the body? You might be feeling a little euphoria, a little bliss, a little lightheaded. That's okay if you're lightheaded, just sit down. Good, now just smile. Big inner smile. Good. So type in the chat, how was that for everybody? What did you notice with your 9 breath? Matthew asked a question. So if you gave one of your kidneys away, would you have half the amount of Jing? Not necessarily, but you deplete your ability to restore and sustain Jing. If you give away a kidney, you basically reduce your lifespan, and by at least a decade or more. But yes, you don't necessarily give half your Jing away because it's not that quantitative in each kidney, but it does deplete your ability to have a certain amount of Jing.
Look at all these results. This is great. Feeling more centered and grounded, Justin says. Felt energy build up and more relaxed, Frankie says.
Rashad says blood flow in his penis. I mean, in his body. All right. Yes. The
Ready for self-pleasure.
The blood is moving. Yeah. My body.
What else? Let's see. What else we got?
What are y'all feeling from the 9 breath? We're going to do it again with a little bit of a pelvic lock.
Mike says lightheaded but relaxed. David says feel very energized and relaxed at the same time. Yeah, I felt some bliss. Cosmic.
Yeah. So the 9 breath is like a muscle relaxer, an energizer, and a meditation all in 9 breaths. It's great. I do it almost every day. And if you want to have more staying power with your woman, one of the things you can do right away is do the 9 breath 3 or 4 times before you make love, and have 2 ounces of honey and 4 to 6 ounces of water or warm water. Honey is rich in glucose. So the more oxygenated and glucose rich your body is, the more blood flow you're going to have into your cock, and the more energy you're going to be able to channel in your physiology. And so glucose, raw honey, and breath work. Very simple, biohack there for more sexual power. Just drink 2 ounces of honey. Because a lot of us men, we lose our staying power because we really run out of glucose in the middle of lovemaking. And so if you supersaturate your body with glucose and oxygen, even if you haven't built the body awareness and the pelvic floor strength yet, because there's a whole other level there of pelvic floor body awareness. And then there's also the visualization techniques and the tantric practices. Those are more sophisticated ways of recirculating orgasmic energy, but just having the right foundation makes all the difference. So like 2 ounces of honey, water, and you will notice more power. One of my favorite elixirs for lovemaking before and after is coconut water, honey, and bee pollen. And so my wife and I, we make these every day. This is 20 ounces of coconut water with about 1 ounce of honey, and then a heaping teaspoon of bee pollen. So this is Spanish bee pollen. Now, flowers are having sex every day. I don't know if you know this, but plants have sex through pollen. And that's how they germinate. Have you thought about that? Bees are the pimps of the plant kingdom. Bees is what keeps all the plants making love. By the exchange, isn't that funny? No one ever talked about nature that way, but nature's having sex every day. The earth and the sun are having sex through charged particles of light, photonic energy. All of that solar wind that's hitting the earth every day, that's the sun making love to the earth. The sun is the alpha, the earth is the omega, the sun is the male, the earth is the female. You didn't know that, did you?
No,
you just
it's awesome.
Yeah. So everything is making love and everything is orgasm. I mean, we have such a distorted understanding of sexuality in this country. And when you understand what love and sexual energy really is, it's just another expression. It's just another way of that life flows and creates itself, So everything. And I only realized this through Tantra, because like once I became multi-orgasmic, I tapped to an energy that was like in everything.
Yeah, having orgasms with trees, right?
Everything is orgasming to some level. It's just to what degree, and there's lower levels of lust, and then there's higher spiritual levels of ecstasy and bliss.
Which is not to judge the desire for sex for itself.
Yeah.
It's a good, natural, healthy desire.
Yeah.
So lust,
one thing to realize about as men is that our lower nature is what it is. And if we desire lots of sex and more sex, it's not wrong. Your desire is pure in and of itself. Remember that, men. Like your desire for sex and connection, addiction is a lack of connection. Remember that. The reason men, Justin's like, that's right on. Yes, that's a writer downer, by the way. Addiction is just a lack of connection. So if we're addicted to pornography or we're addicted to masturbation, it's because we haven't learned from our tribe of men like Lewis and I how to connect with women and how to be intimate. We just didn't get the right training and teaching. And we have all this like blocks and shame in the way. And once you learn how to connect and cultivate that connection, then you don't need to be addicted to porn or masturbation. You can still masturbate to practice and recirculating energy. Then you can go share that with your woman and grow spiritually, and that's the essence of Tantra.
So if the antidote to addiction is connection, we look at those who are addicted to sex too. It's sex with partners, and maybe they're not allowing themselves to receive the nutrients of the heart-centered connection and energy.
Yeah. A lot of people out there having sex, but they're still in addiction because they're not connecting with their woman, in the way that can be possible. So we need three treasures. We need to cultivate Jing, build Qi, and establish Shen. And Shen is something that takes decades. So don't think you get Shen overnight. Shen just comes through service. And Shen comes also through meditation. Those are the two most important ways to cultivate Shen, is through service and meditation. And then through the stillness, the Shen recirculates back down into Jing, and the cycle continues. So let's talk about the arc of a man and the arc of a woman in pleasure. So we all know that men can get hard and erect and ejaculate in less than 2 minutes. But women have a much longer arc. Women take about 10 to 15 minutes to get fully aroused. And a lot of this has to do with our biology and how we evolved as men and women. So men evolved to be the hunters, the warriors, and to sow seeds, to build villages, to save the day. So like our biology was designed to spread the seed as quickly as possible, and so that we could go save the day. Like we didn't have a lot of time to like have tantric sex back in 100,000 years ago when we were running away from lions and tigers so we had to go have sex, have it very quickly, procreate the species, and go back and hunt and build and save the day. Women were the gatherers, so women have more white matter. They have the ability to produce more oxytocin. They have the ability to produce more pleasure. And their nervous system is wired to sit behind the scenes and gather and take care of. Women have what's called diffused awareness. So they can put their attention on multiple things at once and still function. They can see where the kids are in the field. They can prepare the meals, and they can see if there's danger out there, and they can do it all at the same time. This is how woman's body needed to form and evolve to protect the village, or to care for the village while the man was hunting and providing food for the village. Now, a woman takes a lot longer to get aroused. So most men, unfortunately, when we start producing testosterone and to get horny, we start masturbating. And we start masturbating to ejaculation, and we train our nervous systems, from age 9 or 10 all the way up until our 20s to premature ejaculate. We program ourselves for premature ejaculation. And that's unfortunate because we never allow the woman to achieve her full potential with our cock in her, And nothing is more pleasurable and multi-orgasmic for women than a man's cock. No dildo, no nothing else, because there's chakras down there. When there's a connection of mind, body, and breath, and yoni and penis, there is a level of union and pleasure that's so much more powerful when a man develops the skill. So what happens is, as you start to develop strength in the pelvic floor, as you start to develop nutrient saturation, as you start to develop breath and body awareness, as you combine all these things together, a woman will have her orgasm and you will have your orgasm. And now you're at octave number 1. You're at the first octave of orgasm in a sexual experience. There are 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 octaves above that most men have never even touched, because they ejaculate before the woman has achieved her first orgasm. And that's unfortunate. But literally, like, once I became multi-orgasmic, and once I could have sex for 2 and 3 hours, sometimes taking recesses, we make love, eat fruit, make love, eat fruit, put on music, massage, make love, make love, make love. And then there are levels of pleasure in a man's body where every single cell is orgasming. You can feel it in your fingertips. Like, for most men, orgasm is a genital experience and maybe a rush to your brain. But when you start experiencing these octave 1 and the woman orgasms, and then octave 2, the woman orgasms again, there starts to be a recirculating of sexual energy where the woman's orgasm comes into the man, and now you're both orgasming at the same time. And the woman starts experiencing pleasure and bliss, and she's like taken back by it. Like, when you get a woman to this level of pleasure, she's going to feel a little awkward at first because she's never experienced it before. But this is the beauty of Tantra and becoming multi-orgasmic, is octave 1 and then 2, and like, my teacher Scotty O would talk to me and he would say, just when I thought we
couldn't get better,
couldn't get any better,
Yeah.
it did. And I'm like, wow, that sounds cool. That sounds neat, but what are you talking about?
But then you experienced it.
Then I experienced it. And then when I thought it couldn't get any better, it got better. And then when I thought it couldn't get better than that, it got better. And then I thought, and then about a year into my practice of, doing the pelvic locks and the cobra breaths, and I've already been a raw foodist for like 15 years. So I was fully jacked up with minerals and botanicals. I'm sitting in a plane one day. Oh yeah. And I go into spontaneous orgasm in a plane with a beautiful woman next to me. And it was just her energy. Like I was just there and I just had to breathe through it and enjoy it,
Did she find out?
No. I contained myself pretty well, but like, it's not either or, it's both and more. And a man can have orgasm with his clothes on. Like doesn't have to be a genital experience.
Mm-hmm.
Although when it becomes a genital experience and you have breath control and pelvic control, and you can recirculate that energy, you can stop ejaculation consciously. And this is the thing you want to do is when you're making love and you understand the pelvic floor and the breath work and some more advanced techniques, every man has his point of no return. So now that we understand the arc of pleasure, it's good to practice so you can get a woman beyond that first arc into the second octave. Now we're talking about like
intensity of pleasure.
Intensity of pleasure. So like, sometimes we just need to slow down and practice the yogic practices in partnership. And a lot of this happens through what Lewis is about to teach too, which is in the communication and the rapport and making that connection verbally and through the signs and signals and all that stuff. That's foreplay. That's even before you. And then when you touch a woman,
everything is foreplay.
Everything is foreplay. Everything is sexual energy and everything's orgasm. The lines just start to dissolve. And this is really cool. So like, man has this point of no return. So 1 is like getting a little aroused. 10 is like, already ejaculated. And 8 or 9 right here is that point of, every man knows that point. You know what I'm talking about, right?
When you can't stop.
We're like,
when she's too hot and it's done.
There's like no turning back. That's an 8 on the scale of stimulation. So when you're ready to build and practice with your partner, or with yourself. Remember, you can self-pleasure and still get the skill dialed in. You don't have to have a partner. It's just more fun with a partner. You want to start using your techniques at 5 and before you penetrate at 1. Do the breath work before and start using the pelvic lock, the visualization techniques at 5 so you don't get to a 6 or 7 and you've already overstimulated yourself. Am I making sense? Yeah. The stronger your pelvic floor is, the PC muscle, the more nutrient rich you are, the more body awareness you have, the more you can just extend orgasm. And if you do have a sexual partner right now, I give you a challenge, not for the women because the women are already dialed in, but for the men. Make a commitment to make love with your partner without ejaculating 10 times in a row. And you have to control it. You have to just pull out and stop and just stop making love if you can't control your ejaculation anymore. Because what happens is you move from dopamine to oxytocin. When a man's always ejaculating every time, he releases dopamine.
Which makes him want more women.
Yeah, which makes you disinterested in your woman and wanting to go spread your seed, because that's how we're biologically wired. But if you can start to recirculate your jing and retain your semen more than 3 times, you'll go to grab your partner's butt or give her a kiss and you'll have a little orgasm. Yeah, I mean, the more you can retain your ejaculation, not your orgasm, the more even the little things with your woman start becoming highly pleasurable and highly sensual. And it's all building and cultivating intense amounts of oxytocin. Now, you can do this without sex. You can do this with just meditation and the Quantum King meditation. When you get out there in the field enough, like we teach and Make Love Easy on our 6-week accelerator program, and you start learning how to turn pain into fuel, eventually you're going to start feeling bliss in your body. But when you connect that to sexual energy and no ejaculation 3 and 4 and 5 times in a row, now you're just building on top of oxytocin. And man, it's just so amazing. It's just like, I wish you could feel what I'm feeling in my body right now, because
even now,
because I'm just, I just call upon it from memory, because I know what this experience is like, because I've cultivated and experienced it. But it just takes, we have to work it. Anything worthwhile requires work and effort. So you just got to understand some of these basic laws and practice them. So let's do the 9 breath. Let's do a pelvic lock and a visualization technique. So what we're going to do now.
So back up.
Yeah, stand back up.
Time to breathe some more.
So the pubococcygeus muscle is the pelvic floor.
The what muscle?
The pubococcygeus muscle. So
wait, what?
I mean, I guess we could pull up a diagram.
PC.
The
I just
PC
like
muscle.
hearing the name of it, Artemis.
Yeah, the pubococcygeus muscle. So a little anatomy lesson. It's important to understand our anatomy. So pubococcygeus muscle. Yeah, coccygeus. There it is.
Who here is familiar with Kegels?
Spell that muscle. Pubococcygeus. So here we go. Yeah, so this is, I'm going to pull up a diagram of the pubococcygeus muscle so you can see it. So here's the pubococcygeus muscle. I think this is of a woman. And it is the pelvic floor. So it's the muscle group that lines horizontally the floor of the pelvis. And it's the muscle that contracts to stop the urethra of a man and woman from urinating. So as you flex the pelvic floor, you're pretending like you're holding urination. But as you practice this flexion every day, you're also increasing body awareness. Now, there are 3 muscle groups of the pelvic floor. There's the frontal pelvic floor, the pelvic floor that's connected to the anus, and then there's the muscle group behind and around the anus. There's actually more subtle variations of pelvic floor flexion that you can learn later on, but we're going to just flex the entire thing. So you're just going to hold the whole pelvic floor together. And it's also, it constricts both the urethra and the anus. And when we do the 9 breath, of the 9 breath, I'm going to say lock the pelvic floor. What I want you to do at the 9 breath, on the 9th breath, is lock the pelvic floor, flex that muscle. And I want you to draw the navel in. And what we're going to do we're going to flood our body with oxygen, and then we're going to lock the pelvic floor, draw the navel in, and then we're going to take all that oxygen in the spinal fluid, and we're going to bring it to the brain. We have a little brain-gasm. Are you ready to have a brain-gasm? Let's do this. All right, hands on your navel. All right, exhale. 1 is big. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and hold. Now inhale again and hold. Flex the pelvic floor, draw the navel in. And as strong as you can, as tight as you can, hold that pelvic floor very tight. Inhale and hold. And now do a slow exhale. Slowly relax the pelvic floor. Good. And just feel the change of all the fluid now that it's been flushed into the brain. We're supercharging our brain hypothalamus with oxygen and chi and life force and minerals in the spinal column. Good. Now, inhale again. 1 is big. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold. Inhale again and hold. Lock the pelvic floor, draw the navel in. Now imagine a silvery ray of light is moving from the base of your spine all the way up the central channel. See a beautiful quicksilver of light going all the way up to the brain. And now do a slow eternal exhale and relax the pelvic floor, exhaling out of your brain, out of the crown of your head. Yes, just like that. Exhaling out of the crown of your head. Good. Just draw the energy up and out from the base of the spine all the way up to the brain and out the crown of your head. Good. Let's do it one more time. Exhale. 1 is big. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is big, and hold. Lock the pelvic floor, draw the navel in, strong flexion. Now draw a silver ray from the base of your spine all the way up to the crown. Relax the pelvic floor and exhale out the crown of your head, visualizing a gold mist. That's it. Smile. Feel the joy of this energy just moving out of your head. Yeah, that's it. See that golden mist just flowing out of the crown of your head, filling the room with gold and white light. And when you're making love with your lover and you're using these breath and visualization techniques, when you get to a 5, slow down. slow down a little bit. Don't overstimulate your genitals. And just both of you just start breathing and drawing the energy up. Just draw this energy up. If you know the cobra breath, this is the time to use the cobra breath. It's not in the, we're not going to teach it, the cobra, in this class, but it's like just practice super oxygenating. Just warrior's breath will prevent ejaculation done correctly. But if you lock the pelvic floor, bring this energy up, and you're not moving too much, then you can start to connect the lower and the higher chakras. And that connection starts to create resonance. And then you get to start having pelvic resonance, heart resonance, throat resonance, resonance in the brain, and resonance in the crown, and resonance in the field of sexual energy. And then you get to start to become aware that you are more sexual energy than matter. And you make love some more, and you do some more breath work, and you make love some more, and you stop. And you put on some music, and you eat some fruit, because fruits are for fertility. You know, so wild blueberry smoothies and strawberries and berries and goji berry tonics and things like that. And then you go back and you make love again, and you practice more breath work. And then orgasm doesn't become something that you force or look for. Orgasm becomes something that happens. And you become orgasmic. Now, for men watching this without a partner, masturbate while you're doing this. I pleasure myself all the time because I'm a highly sexually charged being, and I love pleasuring myself. I have no shame of masturbation. I start my days in orgasm every morning. My day works better every time. But I never ejaculate when I masturbate. And if I choose to ejaculate, I'm just emptying the pipes, getting ready for more sex. You know, so it's like orgasm for me brings me more into my natural state, my more creative state. And you know, I can have an amazing multi-orgasmic, beautiful, blissful states masturbating, and then go enjoy my day.
How does it impact your performance, like in work or productivity or expression? I know you're more magnetic, right? Because you're carrying that energy of orgasm.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Like when we allow ourselves to become sexually charged, we are now more creative, because the reproductive organs, that energy is the creative center of the body. You know, that's where we create life. That's where we create, you know, businesses. But then there's also the energy of the heart, which is the energy of wholeness and love. And so if we don't have an integration of the lower organs with the heart, then we're always going to be lacking something. You know, we're going to be seeking pleasure outside of ourselves. And we're going to be caught in a pendulum of duality.
Thinking that we need women.
Yeah, that
we need that.
That we need women for pleasure and fulfillment. And it's like, no, when you become naturally multi-orgasmic, women's just a bonus. It's a wonderful bonus. There's nothing more attractive to a man than watching his woman come. The most beautiful thing. That's why we love watching porn. Justin's like shaking his head. It's like, it's hardwired in us. And so when we become multi-orgasmic and a woman becomes multi-orgasmic, it's like a cosmic sexual like masterpiece. It's like a beautiful painting. Just something. There's so much beauty in orgasm and sexuality, and most of us are just so suppressed, and we've hardwired our nervous system to premature ejaculate through masturbation, but we don't know these higher spiritual practices of breath and nutrition and visualization, and we don't practice them enough with our partner. A lot of us we make sex convenience. It's like, no, like my wife and I time block our lovemaking, and we have like 10 to 15 minutes of warming up with essential oils and breath work and massage and just connection, and then the love can last as long as it needs to, you know, through the time block. So yeah, unfortunately the sexual energy in this expression is a raising of one's consciousness. It's a path to higher consciousness. It's not the only path, and it's not the right path, and it's not the wrong path. It's just a path. You know, it's like a lot of people think, oh, that tantra's it. Like, no, it's just one way. You know, it's just when you find a lover that can play with you in this way, it becomes a very beautiful, intimate, juicy. And then when a man stops ejaculating, then the oxytocin starts to build in the relationship in both partners beyond any level they've ever experienced. And then there's more connection. There's more of that intimacy. You're drawing in instead of pushing away, you know. And you can have quickies and you can ejaculate, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I'm not saying to avoid ejaculation. I'm just saying get to a place where you can choose to ejaculate instead of always just leaking out your jing. Because Because when you release your semen and sperm, you're releasing a huge amount of nutrients and jing, and it takes a while for your body to replenish that. And so that's a function of your digestive fire, absorption, utilization, things like that. And what makes me such a good teacher of the sexual arts is my understanding of the body. Because I know what it takes biologically and spiritually, to help a man become multi-orgasmic. When I was finally taught these practices and skills, the first day of the workshop, I was having so much orgasm. I was like, is this normal? He's like, you're naturally tantric. Don't worry. It's totally normal. Most people, it takes years to get what I experienced in a day. But I was just ready. Like my body was ready. I was so sexual, but I didn't have the right path, to walk.
Would you say that the cultivation, not just of nutrient saturation through eating raw and
eating nutrient dense.
But also like your
raw.
practice of qigong or cultivating energy in the body in general was useful.
Absolutely.
So these are pathways if you're beginning on this journey.
Absolutely. Yeah. In our Make Love Easy program, we'll unpack some more of these recipes and things you can consume, and we'll do some breathwork training and stuff like that. So now we're going to switch gears. Any questions about that? Well, leave your questions to the end because we got more to share with you. But how many like that? Raise your hand. Did you enjoy that?
Was that cool? Was that unlike anything you've heard anywhere else? Rashad's like, I've got some fruit juice. Is that?
Yeah. And Rashad's like, I've got
ready now.
I've got some ideas now. Like I'm going to practice self-pleasure, but I'm just going to practice with my next woman too. And Lewis is going to teach us about communication and rapport. And so when you get enough, and I'm just going to plant a seed here, and then Lewis is going to take over. When you practice what Lewis teaches enough, and you have that security to ask for what you desire from your woman on the first date, and you're clear in your communication, and there's no shame or guilt involved, and you practice it a lot. When you're right before you make love, let your woman know you want to practice breath work, and you want to practice eye gazing, you want to practice pelvic locks, and you want to practice in creating these sexual exercises together, and be open about it. Don't just start doing it without telling her.
Sarah, I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So use mantra, use eye gazing, use breath work, and then start making love, and just repeat, rinse, wash, and repeat. But let your lover know that you're going to do it, and be open about it, and teach her. Like when I became multi-orgasmic and tantric, I had to teach my wife this stuff, and then she became multi-orgasmic, and she's like, oh my God, like she had no idea that kind of pleasure was possible.
Well, there's also the fact that women are programmed through observation and enculturation to want to get a man off. To think that's the goal, and that's makes them a good sexual partner or something. So there's a bit of unlearning there to do as well.
The goal is communication first, which is what Lewis is going to teach, and then connection, and then taking the energy from the lower chakras to the higher chakras. It's sexual yoga. It's yoga while making love, but it's very taboo in India. So the tantric practices were taught in secret, and they still are. I don't know why. We have a lot of work to do in our culture to get over our sexual shame. That's why we're here. That's why we're teaching this stuff. The conversation around prostitution, pornography, sexuality, ego is going to change from the ground up. It's going to change through me and through you being orgasmic, and just comfortable with your sex and sharing it, successfully. So unpack it.
So moving from the inner game to the outer game. Is this fire, by the way? Just checking in. So first of all, imagine what it would be like to walk out into the world sexually fulfilled, sexually confident, thunderous, and satisfied, and orgasmic day in and day out. Do you think you're going to be more attractive when you walk up to a woman you're attracted to?
Yeah.
Give me some nods. Okay. So I recommend all of that. First of all, as a form of self-care, getting yourself into alignment and integrity.
Yeah.
Women can feel where you're at. Women can feel you better than you can feel yourself. Yeah. Women have more integrated left and right hemispheres through the corpus callosum, which is thicker, and more white matter.
Yeah.
They read body language, facial expression, tone of voice better than we do. Why? Because they raise the children. So, there's nothing you can hide. So stop fucking trying to hide something. Stop trying to get one over on your woman. Trust and know that going as deeply authentic into whatever it is that you are feeling, experiencing, and thinking, and then being willing to share that, will create a space of reciprocation, or the possibility of reciprocation and deep rapport.
Yeah, with permission.
Sure.
Women want to have sex just as much as you do. It just takes them longer to trust you.
even possibly more. If you look at the fantasies in the work of Nancy Friday, I mean, it's mind-boggling when you really start to unpack.
I mean, men, we don't really understand the sexual nature of a woman, and we never will. But just so you know, women want to have it with us as much as we do with them. They just have as much blocks in their psyche as we do.
And they carry a child if they get pregnant. So there's a part of the woman's brain, even if she wants sex with you, that is resisting to test out to make sure that you are a worthy partner.
Yeah.
And this is common. It's framed in the men's dating community as last minute resistance, where every part of her is turned on. She said yes, she's in bed with you, and she's like, I gotta stop, I'm not sure. And your job is to not resist the resistance. Now that's much later on, right? We'll start at the early portion of the outer game, but be aware that being able to be with whatever her response is will give you power to create from there.
So outline us the 3 things you're going to teach us. What's the first thing?
Sure. Yeah. So the first thing is building deep rapport.
Yeah, deep rapport.
Rapport is a state of resonance and connection and ease where she knows, likes, and trusts you.
Yeah. What's the second thing?
The second thing is enchantment.
Enchantment. I love that word.
So enchantment is the process of using language and communication to activate the deep subconscious of a woman so that she's not only open and available for sex, but interested, eager, and willing to share the deepest parts of her that she has held down.
What's the third thing?
The third thing is the prime indicators of interest.
Yeah, indicators of interest, or the IOIs.
So these are the signals that a woman will give subconsciously to let you know that she actually wants sex with you, right?
Yeah.
And most men are not looking for these. Most men don't pick up on these. They have their heads up their butts worrying, oh, does she like me?
My head was totally in my ass for 44 years until Lewis taught me this stuff. Because I mean, there's women into me all the time and I was never paying attention. Like I couldn't even see the IOIs. Now I'm paying attention. I was like, oh, she's into me. Oh, it's like, it opens up a whole new realm of like, rapport and connection and intimacy when I can know and see that the IOI is present,
100%.
Just share my own experience of that.
Yeah,
it's like, it was powerful.
Yeah. So starting with deep rapport, and it's funny, I've gotten this from both of my major mentors in my life. We carry with us what we haven't digested energetically and emotionally. We're not here to feel happy. We're here to feel fully. Once we feel fully, we get to feel happier than we've ever felt, but it may take some pain first. So if you're carrying around shame, guilt, sadness, fear, any of these things, going in, breathing with it, touching with it, staying with it, feeling it will clean you up, clear you out. So you're energetically more grounded, more clear, and more available. Who here likes being around people who feel good? Who here enjoys hanging out with people who are happy? Happiness is a choice and an inside job available at any moment for any reason or no reason at all. And what it takes is feeling into and feeling through what's there. The pool of poison and pain called big and little t trauma from the past that we carry around with us each and every day that sometimes gets triggered by a woman not looking at us the way we want or responding to what we say the way that we want.
Another way of saying this is the love that we withhold is the pain that we carry. So as we learn how to let go of pain or turn pain into fuel, like we teach in the dojo, there's so much more joy and pleasure available on the other side of the pain when we can let it go. And it doesn't mean we don't ever experience pain again, but the pain is no longer holding us back.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, the skill that Lewis is teaching is emotional intelligence and fitness. And it's an important part of opening up pleasure in a big way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once you clean off the window through which the light that you are, the gift that you are, is flowing, right? You become a lighthouse. You become a magnet for your good. People want to be around you. People are craving your energy and expression, your unique expression. Your only job in life is to be you. The only way you could fail is by trying to be something or someone that you're not. And if you haven't looked around yet, everybody else is taken. So you can't actually succeed at being anyone other than you. So stop trying to be anyone other than you. And this gets into rapport cycles. So rapport cycle, I love this technology. I got it from Steve Maeda, one of the best dating teachers. And you ask a question like, all right, with Artemis, what are you into? And then very quickly, you fill in the blank with your answers. So what are you into? I'm into meditation, transformation, sexuality, tantra, exploration of coaching and that whole world. How about you? What are you into?
Tantra, conscious entrepreneurship, oils. I love, superfoods and conscious nutrition. Yeah.
So what you're doing, thank you, was leveraging the power of curiosity. Curiosity is king. You'll never run out of places to go or things to uncover inside a woman who actually shares values with you when you're asking questions like this. And once you ask the question, their mind has started to give an answer. Yeah. So they're already engaged, they're already investing. And in the process, when you fill the space very quickly and elegantly with your answer, their brain is now automatically looking for points of resonance, things they have in common with what you've already said. I used to say this, and I'm into philosophy was what I would fill in the blank with. And they'd start talking about, I was into philosophy in college. And then that would lead into a conversation that was a natural unfolding and expression of what I am already interested in talking about. So you're not having to people please. You're not having to hide out. You're not having to pretend.
You're not using pickup lines or cheesy manipulative stuff. You're just connecting resonance and value. Mm-hmm. Now, there are lines we teach in Make Love Easy that are
training wheels.
They're training wheels, but they're also ninja tools to help a woman feel more relaxed in your presence, to help her get into a state of pleasure and imagination that opens up sexual energy much quicker. And you can join our program to learn some of those more sophisticated ways. But this is just very basic rapport. Once you learn how to do this face-to-face in words, you just take it to the level of touch and then sexual energy.
Yeah.
How do you like to make love? In what way? What's your favorite position?
You could be this bold. Yeah. If you're comfortable and in full approval of the subject of sexuality without any emotional or energetic crap and blocks around it, you could literally walk up and within 5 minutes of conversation, start asking, say like, well, I'm a really horny person and I'm really into sex and I teach Tantra and I'm a badass coach. And like, what are you into?
You have to feel into that woman and that resonance, because that resonance is not always going to be.
You have to calibrate.
Yeah, yes. Calibrate and
per person.
In and you like lean into that conversation. It might be on the second, third, or fourth date or whatever, but that's also resonance. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So then enchantment.
So enchantment is the use of language patterns to sort of cast a hook down into a woman's subconscious and to pull up what she already wants to feel, but which no man has been able to activate inside of her. Right. So
because they're trying to be someone else.
They're trying to be someone else.
They're not being who they really are.
And they're not aware that language can have such a power. So I'm going to do it with you, and then I'm going to express. And
let's pretend I'm Sarah.
Most of Sarah can pretend she's Sarah. let's see what her response is as well. So I'm going to use one of the classics. And again, I didn't originate this. One of my teachers in NLP did, Paul Ross Jeffries, amazing man. So let's start with, a friend of mine was watching a TV show recently, and it was about attractions in amusement parks. And they were saying there are 3 components to a really fantastic attraction. He said the first component is you get this buildup as you're going up the track, where you can feel the blood rushing to your muscles. You can notice your heart beginning to beat faster and faster.
Yeah.
And you feel that rush of excitement going down and anticipation as you're going up. And then the second piece is you have to feel incredibly safe with this ride. You know that nothing bad is going to happen. So you can trust and allow yourself to feel those feelings growing inside of you and increasing in intensity. And then the third component is this ride is completely unpredictable. There's so many twists and turns and ins and outs that as soon as you get off, you just want to climb right back on this ride and ride over and over again. Anyway, when you were young, what was your favorite TV show?
Star Trek.
Oh, Star Trek. All right. We got that in common too. So this is very subtle, and this may take a good time to unpack. There were a lot of different things that I was expressing in what we did together just now, but could you see what was happening? If you looked at his face, right? What I was doing is describing. Yeah, he was red. He was feeling. He was activated.
I was. Whew.
So you can use this with men too if you really want. I mean, like,
hey, that don't make me gay, does it? I just like the conversation. But that don't make me.
We're both on a very specific side of the Kinsey scale. Let's just say that. So you're telling a story, which means it's indirect, which means the subconscious, it opens up to possibility. It opens up. And by the way, enchantment, it's a very subtle skill and it requires a lot to teach. So this is just a teaser trailer for part of what we'll be doing in the 6-week accelerator. Like there's a lot of language and preparation, but to bottom line it for you, what we're doing is we're activating specific states of experience through describing them and instructing the subconscious, inviting, making an invitation, a really elegant invitation to go there to a specific spot. And in context, we're using the metaphor of the amusement park ride, laced with what are called embedded commands from neurolinguistic programming to feel certain things. Notice your heartbeat increasing, feel your blood rushing to your muscles. And what you have to understand is we men, we don't all necessarily have the emotional resonance and capacity that Artemis does. Women feel more, and it's easier to activate feelings when you know how to speak and communicate. So literally, in the work of Paul Ekman, famous psychologist, he talks about if you can imagine an emotion vividly enough, the brain does not know the difference between that and a thing that was caused by something outside. Mm-hmm. So you can literally activate through her imagination, you capture and lead her imagination and her emotions to where she goes to this place with you. And suddenly she notices she's feeling these things. Now, you also want to take great care to establish rapport and be selective and intentional and create conversation so that you're sure that this is a person that you want to actually be with. So that you know that this is someone who is healthy, who is sane, who is stable, who is balanced, who is well. Because once you master and integrate this sort of technology, you're like a kid in the candy store. You can literally walk up to any woman of any level of attractiveness and express. And literally, I'm not saying parrot what I said. That is the worst interpretation of this. What I'm saying is gain the skill of emotional expression to where you can use your metaphors, tell your stories, express your experiences, laced with certain intentionality, so that you're activating her through your expression of your emotion and bringing her feelings that she's longed to feel but had no idea how to access.
Yeah, and in our classes, in our accelerator programs, we're going to do role playing. We're going to help you get these words out in your own way. Like, and that's what Lewis is so masterful at this. I'm like, we need to do role playing. We need to help men, follow scripts and build bridges of communication so that they can get over the fear and awkwardness of communicating in this way. You're a natural at it, but you've been doing it for 10 years. And we all need to develop these training wheels of how to communicate. So role playing is an important part of knowing what to say, knowing how to say it, but also knowing when to say it. And that takes practice. Is knowing when to start building that rapport and connection. And there's so much available here. So let's talk about indicators of interest. How do I know a woman is turned on?
Yeah. So indicators of interest. So they're the classic ones where she's touching you, making excuses to laugh at your jokes, even if they're not funny. And
if she laughs inappropriately, she's into you.
Oh man, I guess I must be. No, just kidding. All right. And so the work of Dr. Timothy Perper, he spent 8,000 hours in singles bars observing women and men interacting.
That's like a 4th degree black belt. 8,000 hours, like 4th degree black belt.
And he distinguished that there are 26 or 23, somewhere around there, different signals that a woman was sending that if a man could pick up, he could reliably know who the one was that would be interested in him. And if he just went for that woman, then he doesn't even have to have massive fun enchantment skills. He can literally
just body language.
Yeah. So some of these are the so-called, and I didn't name these. So if they come off as funny or whatever, I'm not the originator. The shy geisha, where she looks down and away and then back up.
And then down again.
The down again doesn't necessarily. If she's, let's see, do we have a pen? If she's playing with a pen or an object, and these are all interpreted in context, by the way. right? If you see her, like, for example, dangling her shoe, or you know, fiddling with her drink, like there's several very phallic, obvious things. Baring her hands, right? Showing her neck, playing with her hair. There's also, thank you for being, next time we'll have Sarah do these pieces.
No, I like it. I'm like the woman in the conversation.
He's very in touch with and
Lewis,
unapologetic about his divine feminine.
Are you talking about sex?
And so, you know, I'm just giving you a pointer here. We can teach you the rest, but they're best observed in context and noticed, ideally in groups of 3, like clusters, because with all body language, it's like a dialect. It's individual to the person.
Well, it's a second conversation going on, unbeknownst to the woman who's giving you these signals. So you're having a conversation with words, and this is where it takes practice and poise, because you're able to read your woman to see if she's into you while you're talking to her and having a conversation. But you're looking for these IOIs, these indicators of interest. Now, what happens if they start stacking? If she starts doing multiple in a row,
oh,
she's really into you.
Then you should ask her what a woman once asked me, which is, would you like to go somewhere a little more private? And she'll get it. That was one of my favorite moments in the past year, as a woman asked me that. And we had an amazing sexual escapade afterwards. So, like, also know that if you're carrying if you're doing enough of what Artemis teaches you, these skills, these outer game skills, are a nice bonus and nice accelerators to the authentic expression you've cultivated of your embodied magnetism.
Yeah, if you cultivate enough power and chi in your mind and body, and you're with the woman you're into, she will feel you. Like from across the room. Lewis has seen me do this with several people, and it's not manipulative, because like love gives with no attachment. Remember that. Like true love gives with no attachment. So like when you build enough of this power and you're into a woman, and the woman is into you, she's going to start drawing on that energy that you're cultivated with, you know, months and months of breath work and nutrition and recirculation of your sexual energy. And she's going to get turned on, not by what you say, not by what you do, but by the energy you're putting off.
It'll be hard to fuck that up.
Yeah, you can't mess it up.
Doesn't matter what you say or what you do at that
point. But it doesn't mean you need to get in your pants the first time you give her that energy. It might be the second or third or fourth encounter, because you know, it's good to get to know your woman and before you explore sexual connection. Yeah,
this is another principle that I've observed, is everybody wants everything fast and instant gratification. Stop. If you give a woman even just a 30-minute Insta date, like a short experience of you, to let her know, hey, I'm normal, I'm human, I'm not a predator, whatever, and then hold off on escalation in this direction until the second date, then a safety space will have been established.
Yeah. So Mershad was talking to me about a conversation we had. We're in real estate, and I lead a team of 16 agents in 2 countries. And, you know, a lot of people in real estate, they chase their clients. They chase leads, they chase business. They're always chasing. And one of our friends in the business, she told Mershad, it's like, hey, you need to let the client know that you don't need the client. The client needs you.
Yeah.
You know, like we don't need to chase women. We have a gift to give women. And women, one thing that Lewis woke me up to is that women want to feel this way. Like when you're learning how to communicate and open up their pleasure and open up their safety and intimacy, they've been yearning for that for a long time. No man has been able to communicate in a way to give them that. They want it from you. And a lot of men are just like, they have such low standards about themselves. They don't realize their value and how much they can give women. So I just want to throw that in there. You know?
Yeah. And it's important that these techniques be used intentionally, intelligently, sensitively, and lovingly, because if you're doing these to try to add a notch to your bedpost or prove that you're worthy of love or something, it's not gonna work as effectively. And you'll come off as a manipulative jerk and an asshole who like played her, right? It's all about the energy. If the energy is from love and unattached service, then she will feel that and she will experience the invitation rather than it's power versus force.
Yeah. One of the ways you can extend ejaculation too is take your attention off your body and put it in your lover's body, and then put it through your lover's body. So like love doesn't come from us. It comes through us when we're tapped into the quantum field, which is infinite love. And that's why we do the Quantum King meditation, because when you start tapping the field and then you start accessing that energy, you realize that you weren't even the source of it to begin with. Your choice doesn't even matter. You become an instrument of love. And then you just love life.
Yeah.
And you just love the feminine. Like I love the feminine and I just love it. There's no attachment. And there's a freedom in that, you know, when you get to that level, you know.
Yeah, there's a filled up to overflow state when you're aligned with and clear on your purpose and giving your gifts in the world. Women, giving your gifts to women is just a subset of that. So any interaction, any experience, any moment of you using some tool and expecting some result, or cancel clear, looking for some result, desiring some result, that's just another part of the dance between you and the feminine. If you're already aligned with your highest or aligning, practicing, living at your edge and aligning with your highest expression of the world, then you're going to be satisfied and not need your woman to do anything to satisfy you sexually, emotionally, energetically.
But you still get to have lots of wonderful, wild, multi-orgasmic sex too. So
women are a nice bonus or a nice bonus.
So raise your hand if you're enjoying this what we're laying
awesome.
down. Like, are you getting value from this? And Frankie said, I practiced this with my last sexual experience. I noticed the difference. Yes. Okay, good. Yeah. So just go out there, get you some honey and bee pollen, you know, start making your elixirs before love, start doing some more breath work, start practicing the 9 breath on a daily basis. We'll teach more ways to do the 9 breath and more ways to do breath work and connect to your body. Pelvic floor exercises are very important too. Strengthen your pelvic floor every day, in the shower, while masturbating, while sitting in prayer. You know, I sometimes
while waiting in traffic.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of pelvic floor exercises, especially in the car, and also in the morning as a form of getting my body ready for meditation. And remember the 3 treasures. Remember Jing, Qi, and Shen, and that you're always building nourishing Jing, cultivating Qi, and giving Shen, right back to nourishing Jing, cultivating Qi and Shen, and start learning how the life practices of nutrition and breath and meditation all nourish those treasures. And let's talk about our 6-week accelerator.
Who's already in the 6-week accelerator, by the way? We've got a number of men in here.
Frankie's in.
Frankie, Matt, Rashad, excellent. Who would like to know more about what we're creating in the world and how we're serving?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent, beautiful.
All right, yeah. So we're going to share a little bit with you what we have coming up starting on Monday. High tech and high tech. Oh, let me share. Right? Yeah. Cool. So stand by here. Let's do a quick screen share. And okay, so after 15 years of research, here's what we've discovered about dating, love, and relationships. You've probably been sabotaging yourself, you know, chasing women you're only sexually attracted to based on your instincts. This is common and often unconscious at first. It leads to more self-sabotage later on. You may secretly hide your emotions, yet at the same time, just trying to fake it until you make it with your woman, not knowing that your hidden fears in your subconscious mind are what is truly holding you back from loving her openly and powerfully into bliss and connection. You may even feel shame sexually, not knowing how to feel comfortable in the bedroom and be skilled enough to turn your woman on through sexual mastery and multiple orgasms. But you're not to blame. Mainstream cultural indoctrination and programming, your preachers, teachers, family, friends, media, they don't teach us how to thrive in sex, intimacy, and relationships. A man who can achieve orgasm without ejaculation is truly free. His woman can surrender into her true multi-orgasmic nature, and this type of man has more power in sex with his woman and more power in sex with his world. And woman and world are the same thing. Yes, this level of masculine sexuality is possible and attainable with practice. All the struggle with women, all the low self-confidence and the feeling inadequate in bed, we've been there. I was there for 40 years and until I opened up my multi-orgasmic nature. And you may have already spent thousands of dollars on programs telling you to be people pleasers or manipulate women or use pickup lines or just feel fake, just so you can get the connection, love, and sex you desire. All of this can be so frustrating and pointless because ultimately you are taught to be someone you are not to get the woman you truly want. You realize that maybe your core motivation is all off. Always feeling like there was more that you could achieve and enjoy with women, but never quite reaching it. You are not the problem. You just have to shift your focus to what works to achieve the real results with the woman you desire. After 55,000 hours of study between us and research, we've discovered a different way of having the love, passion, and connection with your woman that feels aligned, powerful, and can please both you and your woman. Together, we can overcome all of the challenges that we've mentioned.
Because we've done this for ourselves.
Yeah.
Now, one important principle first, we can't just give it to you. You'll only achieve the success you desire by working on your own with the 5 unique and powerful dimensions of becoming a confident lover. What is a confident lover? A man who knows exactly what to say, like we just demonstrated, to turn his woman on and build intimacy.
A man who knows how to practice active listening and really draw his woman into his heart from his worthiness.
A man who's accumulated immense sexual potency with botanicals, superfoods, and elixirs. He knows how to replenish what we've been talking about, his sexual essence, so he can make love without feeling empty or sedated, performing for hours without ejaculation.
With Make Love Easy, we can show you a clear path to awakening the confident lover inside you, to have the confidence and sexual connection you truly desire.
And you give this to yourself by doing the real work. There's no one way of doing this. There's your way as you practice and master the 5 dimensions of Make Love Easy.
So the 5 dimensions are: become a social rock star, number 1; living the king's identity, number 2. That's who's the man you're choosing to become. Achieve masculine health and vitality, the how to build that sexual power and vitality. And number 4, using conscious language and communication, the when to go deeper in your relationship, the conscious agreements. Dimension number 5 is where we begin to activate the true man in you, the leader, the purpose-driven man, becoming the confident lover and connecting to why and purpose. Without all of these 5 dimensions, you will not be able to lead your woman, to lead yourself, and make love easy. This is the formula, the roadmap that we've cultivated over multiple years.
How do we teach you this path? We could give you a bunch of information in a book, but information alone doesn't create lasting change. To know and not to do is not to know. What you need to have the lasting results, not just here in this area, but any area that you want in your life to improve upon, is you have to have an environment, you have to have a community, you have to have a structure, and you have to have support so that the insights that you achieve become your identity.
Yeah.
And over time, you will integrate, you will execute, you will activate new habits that become who you are and how you express yourself with your women, your relationships, and your entire life. So we've decided to make the Make Love Easy 6-week accelerator program to help you overcome all your hidden blocks to the highest expression of your sex, your love, your power, and to build this confident lover inside of you. As the confident lover, again, you will become magnetic for women where they feel your authenticity, your presence, and they desire you wildly before you even open your mouth. So what's in the program? First, powerful and effective mentorship and live events so that you know how to be authentic and effective with your woman, how to speak to your woman in an authentic, aligned way that builds immediate trust and connection, how to let go of past broken relationships and traumas so that you don't carry that baggage into your next relationship. We'll teach you how to build your own king's identity so you can walk with poise and confidence into all your relationships. And you'll discover how to make love powerfully with your woman using breath, tantric massage, essential oils, superfoods, sex tonics, and botanicals. What we started on, what we gave just the beginnings of here today.
I have volumes and volumes of information on that.
He is a walking encyclopedia.
20 years and 3 clinics. Yeah, I know a lot. All right. So it's a 6-week program. Week 1, getting crystal clear on your goals. Week 2, understanding the journey of individuation, how to step into higher levels of love and attraction with your woman in your world. Week 3, building that new identity, transforming your ego from being just the identity to the instrument. This is an important part of the transformation, is becoming the instrument. Where you're not just your subconscious mind, you are connected to an expanded state of consciousness, the quantum field, and you're channeling that into your life. You have to let go of yourself to become your higher self. You don't change the mind with the mind. And that's the problem with most personal development programs.
You don't fix yourself by working on yourself.
Yeah, you let go of yourself.
You're not a problem to be solved.
Yeah. You're an instrument of divine power.
To be cultivated and activated.
And activated. Now, week 4 is building that power in breath, body, and imagination. We're going to go deeper into some breath work, deeper into breath practices. Week 5, building that true power and learning how to cultivate more of those 4 B's: body, being, business, and bonds, and how to start building from that foundation. And then week 6, The real lover is your subconscious mind, activating the confident lover and taking it to the next level. So we've condensed a lot of this energy in both the classes, the recorded classes, as well as the meditations and the live events. We also gamified this action.
We've gamified so that the new actions, the new behaviors will be incentivized. So you'll be rewarded. You'll get prizes, bonuses to develop these new skills. This program is exclusively for men, but some women will come too.
Yes.
As a result of the program.
We hope so. Lots of women.
Lots of women will also come.
There's lots of
as a result of this program.
that need some Rashad in their life. I'm just calling you out, Rashad. Because, like, there's lots of women out there.
Time to other pleasure and not just self-pleasure, Rashad. Okay.
It's a small and private container where you'll have the weekly support you need, plus accountability and structure. Do you think this program is only about love and intimacy? No, this program can transform many other areas of your life. Are you career driven? Are you a business owner? This material will not only impact your love and sex, it will impact your career, your vision, your business, your personal power to create what you love in every area of life. Why?
Because everything is relationships.
Yeah. And your love is magnetic. Yeah. There's so many just beautiful transformations and insights in this program that it just opens you up in so many other areas.
Even in this portion of the presentation too.
Because everything is relationships. Anything you want to create in the physical realm is going to be through partnership, communication.
Everything that lasts.
Connection.
And that ends up easy.
And intimacy, So as you begin to master the 5 dimensions, you'll lead with more power in many other areas of your life. Imagine knowing how to lead all your relationships with clarity, poise, and self-confidence, not just by giving, but also listening, and being present, connecting, drawing people in. Imagine mastering active listening with those you connect with, increasing your communication skills.
Imagine feeling the confidence and power in your body to expand your influence, grow your career or your business, and do the things you formerly thought were just impossible. Quick story on this. When I started producing these kinds of results and amazing experiences with women and having that happen easily, I started to set my sights on higher goals and achieving that same level of success in other areas of life. So it's a seed we're planting in you of greatness. So how does it work? 6 Zoom classes with recordings where you'll get live group coaching and you can rewatch these recordings as needed to master the basics. You'll get an exclusive Facebook group for mentoring and support. I think we decided today that people will be able to remain after the program in the group as alumni.
Yeah, for sure.
We have the Enchanters Meetup live in Austin, where you can experience real-time connecting and flirting with women while practicing what you learn with us as your guides. The Edge Dojo, a fellowship of awakened kings living at their edge and in pursuit of their greatness in real time every Sunday through fitness, meditation, and breathwork. Finally, live superconscious recodes and block removal. It's the most powerful tool I've encountered in 15 years for transmuting and healing. So you can stop ignoring your emotions, your hidden blocks, and your limiting beliefs, and start clearing your subconscious mind effectively, to where as you let go of these blocks, you'll experience more ease and joy and creativity in all your relationships. Plus, as we said, we've gamified things so that you'll experience accountability through simple systems for tracking and measuring your actions and results.
Yeah, it's really important that what you measure with your mind, you can raise with the power of your mind. What you measure and observe, you can change more powerfully than anything else you're not measuring. So measurement is an important part of growth. And it's also a mystical law too, because you can literally raise things just by looking at it. And because you become what you focus your attention upon. So we do measure your body being business and bonds, your attendance to the meetups. We also measure how you're applying your stretch goals, because this is how you change the subconscious, is you get the subconscious excited about gaining more through measurement.
And choosing to do new behaviors. Behavior is the highest form of communication.
So the 6 live Zoom classes, real value is $3,000. 3 Enchanters meetups, real value is $400 over 6 weeks. 6 Edge Dojos, real value is $600 there over 6 weeks. Bonus videos and PDFs, $300. The total value of our 6-week accelerator program is $4,300. And today, for only $997 paid in full, or $497 a month for these 3 months on our payment plan, you can join the 6-week accelerator today. It does start tomorrow.
Actually, Monday, but yeah, we'll have a class tomorrow.
Excuse me. Yeah, class tomorrow, dojos tomorrow.
And Sarah, if you'll drop that link in the chat box So a question, again, it begins at 6:30 p.m. on the 20th on Zoom.
Day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow. We'll send you the schedules via email for the live events. And then you want to go through that? No. Okay, cool.
I'm not feeling it. You feeling it?
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
So
anyway, that's the offer. If your heart says yes, jump in. If not, we'll see you another time.
there are also really quick, some good reasons to join now. The next time we may or may not be live. This is the only one that we've planned to necessarily have live events. At these live events, I will bring experts and sexual teachers and trainers. We also, let's see, I'm forgetting something from the presentation.
Oh, here.
Bring it back up. I know enough to know that there's something that I know, but I don't know what it is that I know.
If y'all have any questions, just to jump in.
Yeah, here it is.
Unmute yourself.
So this is beta test pricing. As we make a huge difference for our men, the prices will go up. And we had a bonus call of content that will be added to everybody who joins today as well. So let us know. A couple quick things. Some of you are in and clear on that. Let's check the chat box just to see.
44th birthday. All right. Happy birthday.
Congratulations and welcome aboard again. Some of you are in a space where you're considering working things out and you're a yes to the program. You know that this can make a difference for you in your life. If you're interested and you're clear that you're interested, Sarah's going to put a link in the chat box for you to have a conversation with me over the course of the next week. We've worked it out to where we're going to allow men to continue to join over the course of the next week because we're not going too far into the content, and you won't get super lost, and we can also bring you back up to speed.
We have an on-ramp too. We have a 3-part video series. It takes about 30 minutes to watch that teaches you how to enchant your woman and how to connect with your woman verbally. And so that content is there, and we have the meditations now. So it's like the foundation is there for people if they join late.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just a quick poll. Anybody who's interested in joining for this round, who hasn't already joined? I know half the room has already joined. So
excellent.
Okay, beautiful. And feel free to schedule a call with me. I think we're complete. If you have any burning questions or answers, now is the time. We'll hang out for another 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, any questions? What's that one thing you don't want to ask? Go ahead and ask it.
I was just curious with the bee pollen I found on Amazon. Is it Z Natural Foods?
Yeah, Spanish bee pollen.
Okay, yeah.
This one from Z Naturals has the best flavor. It's very floral, bitter, and sweet. Bee pollen contains all 5 flavors: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and pungent. But some pollen is way more pungent or way more sour, and this one is more sweet, slight bitter overtones. Yeah, bee pollen is like wine. There's thousands of varieties of pollen all over the world, but this particular pollen is the best flavor. Yeah.
So I can probably put it in food to sweeten it.
Yeah, it goes great in smoothies, granolas, yogurts. I like to dilute it in coconut water, Costco organic coconut water, at room temperature, and then chill it. It has the most wonderful, like fruity pebbles flavor when you mix it with coconut water. It's delicious. And it's a great, coconut water is like your blood. It's the same mineral composition as plasma. And then when you add pollen, you add every nutrient known to support life, as in bee pollen. You mix those two substances together, you have a perfect elixir of energy and vitality. And our semen and our sperm, and for women, the eggs and the juices are made of these essential minerals and nutrients, carbohydrates and minerals. And so the more carbohydrate, the more fruits we consume, the more fertile we become. And the more nutrient dense superfoods we eat, the more nutrient dense our juices become, which just makes us more juicy. It's all good.
And makes sex more juicy.
It's all good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Oh, congratulations, Frank. He says, I'm excited to get started in building my schedule to become intentional with all the practices and self-accountability.
Yeah.
Badass, sir.
Yeah. Our 4 Bs and our meditations, Frankie, is going to rock your world, man. You're going to love it.
I'd love to hear biggest takeaway in the chat box, or we can take a share or two real quick.
Yeah. Biggest takeaway. What did you get from today?
So feel free to type it in the chat box.
Hey guys, I would just say that thanks for this class. Thanks for I don't know, had a lot of takeaways from here. One was the elixir, the honey, the bee pollen. Never heard of that or read about that, so that's something interested to kind of go in there and learn about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things I looked out today too. I didn't get into botanicals, but
yeah, those
I'll share later.
that was pretty interesting. I did like that. It did, you hear a lot about what you put in your body is what you're giving out, and how you carry yourself. And me, I should say, falls into like everything, quick fixes, whether it's poor food, poor choices in life in general. So kind of getting that center ground again, and understanding that self gratification of needing everything quick, whether it's an unhealthy meal because it's faster versus meal prepping versus taking that time to be conscious of what I'm putting in my body is what I'm getting out of my body. That was probably my biggest takeaway today, to kind of recenter myself on what I'm putting in, so that way I'm getting out things. Also being more aware when I masturbate, that there's a purpose behind it versus just that quick instant gratification to have an orgasm, versus how practice makes perfect, I guess, what you said earlier. Like when I'm doing it, I'm practicing for the big game, that I'm giving myself pleasure, to teach myself to hold off, to not release, so that way when I'm with my partner, I'm giving her that same pleasure, versus that quick minute, 2 minute, boom, I'm done, and then moving on, kind of thing. So that's kind of what I got from today.
Yeah, do your PC exercises when you're not self-pleasuring, but also practice self-pleasuring without any ejaculation over and over and over again. Extend, find ways to, because a man's ejaculatory muscle is involuntary. It's like trying to stop your heartbeat. It's very difficult to control ejaculation because the muscle that causes a man to ejaculate is involuntary muscle. It's not skeletal muscle. It's not voluntary. And so you actually have to practice a lot, and usually sex is not enough to practice controlling that muscle and extending it. It's good to practice on your own so you can start developing that fine-tuned body awareness. And then learning all the other botanicals, elixirs, tonics, breathwork, the dojo, dude. Once you learn how to turn pain into fuel, it's game over. Yeah, there's so much more pleasure on the other side, and flow. So yeah, good job. Anything else, Mike?
Thanks for being here. Thanks for inspiring this thing. Again.
Yeah. This class was your inspiration to us.
Let's see what we've got in the chat box. Matt's going to make the elixir. David's thankful for the tantric practices, social relating tips. Justin's excited about the rapport cycle and language patterns. Frankie's language, the signs, the power, and the breath work, being mindful of the foods and the practice of self-pleasure, pleasure with partner. I've got a question for you all. Is this not just like unlike anything you've ever encountered in the world of dating and social dynamics and personal development? Like I just am so grateful and delighted to be one of the actors and the composers of this symphony. Like this is an artwork that we get to bring to the world. This is what I've always wanted to do with my life.
Absolutely.
And I'm just so honored to be a part of it.
Yeah. It's time for men to wake up and be powerful, confident lovers. In every area of their life, and learn these very basic skills.
Very basic Freudian slip.
These very basic skills that most boys and men are not taught because their fathers were not taught this, and these skills are important to live life fully and to enjoy life and to enjoy the creative process, and to enjoy intimacy and sexuality too. And so it's like, I learned a lot of this stuff the hard way through pain. But once I learned you could learn through pleasure and flow, much, much easier and better way to learn. But men will still learn through pain because pain is their challenge, and men grow through challenge. And so you have to have a healthy relationship with pain and pleasure. Like our teacher taught us, it's not either or, it's both and more. But these skills are so, so vital. So we want to get this out there to as many men as possible. and connect with as many women as possible so we can bring more connection to the world consciously, authentically, powerfully.
Yeah, that's another thing that's different about this movement. And then our free community, which you're welcome to join if you're not, or rejoin if you were a member and left for a time. So we bring the women in. We're here to receive the women's feedback, because if we're fully aligned, there isn't going to be anything we can't share or express to the women. There's nothing we'll have to hide. There's nothing we'll have to hold back or withhold or protect about our full sexual, social, energetic expression.
Yeah. So we have 4 masterclasses we're putting together for Make Love Easy. This is masterclass number 2.
Can't wait.
Masterclass number 1 is an absolute game changer for most men. And you know, for Frankie and Mershad, like Mershad, how much has knowing the nature of your ego changed your life? What has it done for you? How to stop feeding your ego and start feeding a greater structure. What has that done for you?
Well, once so it has given me a different perspective to who I am to begin with. Like anytime that my ego is triggered, or I can notice that was my ego, that was not my true self. I kind of like, if I wanted to put it in visualization, it's like I kind of see my higher self in another perspective, and I see my little self, which is my ego, acting, and by that I'm able to control that ego. And I'm in the process of learning. I know it's going to be an ongoing game, but the awareness of it has changed so many different things. Like I know what I'm doing and what I'm building right now in my life is going to be much more meaningful. It's not going to be just pretty. It's going to be meaningful.
Yeah.
It's a heart-centered choice. It's not just a thing that you came up with in your head.
Yeah. It's activating your true self, learning how to shift your focus and perspective, getting out of the trap of the ego and into the new identity and the new creative structure. It's a game changer, man. It's like my mind is free, you know, and my heart is just so rich and so full. And it's not what you think. It takes a while to stop feeding the ego. And when the ego moves from the identity to the instrument, which is what we teach in Masterclass 1, and then you learn the skills and the tools to make that happen, man, it's like you're free. You're free from the illusion of life. And what so many people are just out there trying to prove themselves, trying to be good enough, starting businesses and families based on not being worthy and not being good enough. And nobody's ever happy and fulfilled. And we're all chasing a life where the future is going to be better than what I have now. And it's because the ego will never be satisfied. And so we're trying to feed something that will never be satisfied or full. We don't need to feed it anymore. We just drop it and put our focus on what we love and creating love with others. And in that shift of focus, you have to shift your neural pathways. You have to shift your subconscious mind too. And that's where the rubber meets the road. The reason we created this program and the live events is that your subconscious can shift.
Because behavior is the highest form of communication. You have to teach your subconscious that it's okay to take new actions, and then take those new actions until you've got a direction to go.
Yeah, you don't need to shift the ego. It's just your instrument of creation. It's how you learn. You know, but when you finally make that point of separation, like Mershad made it about 6 months ago, and he got so much more effective, productive, creative, and now we're helping him make the final shift with his woman. You know, fully integrated man. Fully confident lover. Watch out, world. Let's do it.
Amen.
Yeah. If I wanted to give like one more to add to it, to the people that, you know, are watching this, and just to share like what I've been experiencing, like now that I look back at my life, like that I was living in illusion, the more I become conscious of myself and the ego, it feels like my higher self is the controller, and then my ego, this image that you're seeing, the name Mershad Afshar, they're just my instruments to play in this physical world. And my goal of being here is to master the art of being in control of that awareness that's like controlling this puppet that I am, if I wanted to put it like in a simple like just to envision it, and how like how much you can be in control of your life and your destiny.
This is the real purpose of life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my teachers says it's okay to have things, just don't let those things have you, meaning take you out of your fully aligned peace, love, and joy. And the ego is one of those things. It's okay to have your ego, but most people don't have their egos. Their egos have them,
Yeah.
having them chasing things that they don't really give a shit about in their deepest heart and alignment.
Yeah. And that's in MasterClass 1. You can go back and watch it and
Mhm.
learn about structures and oscillation and getting out of that. But there's so many things we bring in to make love easy that puts you in the driver's seat of your life powerfully, creatively. So thank you for sharing that feedback, Mashad. We love you all.
Thank you for coming.
We're gonna bow out of this class. May your life be full of love, orgasms, joy, beauty, pleasure, connection, intimacy. May you feel confident going out there and creating life-giving partnerships where you feel fully supported. And may you have the tools and skills to do that, because that's why we're here.
Amen.
Yeah.
So be it, and so may you be.